One day in April, as I stood, wine in a Honda, ale in flood, root in mouth, smock in lungs, smile upon lippers, shoulders shrugged, wanting comfort and to harden, and to dance in some lady's garden. Sunna utter, as rare in northern shires, as min clock took off in flame desiring. When a maiden fair to I took, and would offer to fill up her cup, so full of wine and full in dresser, as to me to prove her worthiness. So to her table beginning min pilgrimage, full of ale and as such courage, betwixt revellers and sleepy fools, I licking min lips for to sharpen me tools. But with son and ale min resolve, beginnings to waver and thence dissolve, and so if he read of a snub, I wended on past her and ut to the pub. The rhubarb of the pub, the clack of new balls, the distant rumbling of the doors. Jim Morrison, alive, she cried. I'm drip, drap, double drop, drunk, I'm duke, jive, generously juiced, I'm tip-top, tickle pink, I'm tipsy, ditzy, unsure of what to think, I'm drunk, so very. I utter, mutter, cry for mother, rip, rap, roasted, wasted, drunk, punk, jung, tin, bin, battered, cane, trolleyed, trash, mashed, a saucy knave, thinking, I was glad when I'd had enough. From genteel tipsiness to stupefied excess, be the drinker's vote in this boozy referendum. Cast aside the hourglass, nunc est bibendum. Come with me on a journey, if you will, where we can drink and quaff and spill our guts, bowing to the porcelain gods of indulgence. Hop, skip, dance and jump, be drunk sirloin or well done rump. This brew will give you gravitas. Speak up in vino veritas. So speaking loudly, perhaps in song, reel and spin, you can do no wrong in these my bottle bottom eyes. As your doctor, I prescribe lots of liquids you imbibe. I suggest that Bordeaux be your sauce, for purely medicinal reasons, of course. Shall I compare thee to a love's lover? Indeed, for you do fill my soul so. Though I judge ye not on thine dusty cover, but the inked beauty within thine whole. I remember the lovers of mine past, of leafy days and pages left unread. Mine lovers are Pinter, Miller, and Shakeshaft, though sleeping on, to me remain undead. Oh, what then of our future, you and I? Though loose by fidelity is assured, finger thine pages and caress thy spine, and be forever filled by your applause. Though there'll be others for thee and myself, I will never put you back on the shelf. If a library were a pub, then I would be dunce drunk all the time. I might be fest in jest, or Malvolio and superior fool, welcoming literary oblivion. Shakespeare might be some Pendle brew, Byron an absinthe for sure, and Woodhouse a Pimm's. But what of Larkin? A wine, perhaps, not expensive, but one, though harsh with tanning, that has character, with some talk of sour grapes. But nowadays excessive drinking is frowned upon, and no one thirsty for knowledge. So I raise my glass to those temperate fools who drink the Vimto of media, and are never drunk from the word elixir, distilled from the fruits of the mind. Polyantic Humans by David A. Middleton. Old blind Polyphemus, or Polly to his pals, once told me of humans. Nothing, it seems, is safe from these sticky-fingered swine. Do not trust them, and do not drink their wine. Be careful with him. Do not be too hasty, though he did concede that teat they were quite tasty. It was some time after Trojan War, he said, when yon incident occurred. He rarely spoke of it. 'Twere a tale I'd never heard. Polly arrived home one day in July with a view to doing some milking, but found some ewes were dry and fancied some bugger had done some milking. So he searched his cave, and there he found a feast of fellers just hanging around. Said this one chap, t' most well-dressed, "We're here, so how about you treat your guests?" But Polly would not acquiesce, and dashing two heads feasted on their flesh. At this, the fella let out a yelp, saying, "I've been to some shitholes, but they never eat the help." But Polly did not heed this cry. You see, he'd fallen asleep, and were dreaming of sheep, and a girl with a beautiful blue eye. At the dawn of the morn, that is the morning next, he chowed two more, leaving these humans vexed. saying, "You'll suffer for this lot, you great cycloptic sot." But Polly thought upon the threatening moor, and by rolling the boulder back behind him, he shut the door. By that eve, as far as he could perceive, the humans seemed quite fine. Nowt out of place, even though he'd eaten two of their mates. They even offered him wine. But happen the human were eat crafty, and whilst Polly were getting soused, drew four fellers be deadly lottery, so it was eyes down for a full house. As they was drinking, yon head human said that he thought the cave weren't too shoddy, and with a smile on his face said, "How have you done with the place? By the way, the name's nobody." In hindsight, this kindness were odd, but Polly let it lie, though nobody were fixing for give him a prod, not in the ear but the eye. "I'll drink you lads on the table," silly Polly boasted, so nobody laid wine on thick, till Polly were fair roasted, and all time nobody were sharpening his stick. Now, as I've said, this cove were a crafty sod, and as it got gloomy with fading light, wi' a pike nobody give Polly a prod, right in his organ o' sight. Amid his screams and shouts, "Help!" Polly cried out, and with some persistence. The poet were unkind and now quite blind, Polly were in need of assistance. T'other Cyclops outside took cave stood, as Polly swore and hissed, but as they couldn't see t' blood, presumed as Polly were pissed. "Nobody's at me, I'm fixing for do me in." But yon Cyclops didn't know the name, saying, "Nobody? Never heard of him." As nobody is attacking, it must be t' gods who was doing harm. So Cyclops thought, bugger it, and they all went back to the bar. "I'll need more than an optician," Polly said with a sigh. "I'd best see yon magician, and let him have a look at me eye." As it transpires, t' humans escape with ease. They pinches old Polly's sheep, and they takes all his cheese. Well, this were a right state of affairs, and no mistaking nowt. For t' take some fellas' sheep's not fair, and for pinch his cheese, well, that's bang out. But insult to injury were added, as yon humans towards horizon cruised, hurling jibes and insults at Polly. You should have heard the language they used. So Polly let 'em have it, and at 'em threw a rock, but due to having a bad eye, found his aim were all to cock. Oh, angry were Polly, aye, reet full of rage, and he only gets madder when this nobody says Odysseus is his name. You see, all this had been portended, prophesied and foreseen, that this Odysseus would crop up and have it away with all Polly's cheese. So Polly, though blazing, put down his stone, and to his father Poseidon did pray, asking if this Odysseus had to make it home, he should at least have a bad time of it along the way. So let this be a warning of how the mighty can fall. Beware all humans, and keep your eye on your cheese and all.